How do you see the India-China dynamic play out from where we are at right now?
Well, the fact that China not only has an underperforming economy, but also has geopolitically been on the back foot in their own backyard because of the Quad, but also because of the trio of South Korea, Japan, and the United States that are now much closer than they were just a couple of years ago before the Japanese and the South Koreans made up. You've also got the Indonesians improving their relations with the U.S. and with Japan, the Philippines offering the U.S. bases, 8 bases in the Philippines. I mean, all of this is telling the Chinese, you overplayed your hand in your own backyard.
But they're not dialing back on India in any way.
No, they're not.
Why not?
But I think that, I think at the end of the day, the West is more important, both strategically and economically, to the Chinese than India. And perhaps they see that Indian leadership is more challenging to move the needle on with them.
In your reading of the Chinese mind,
Yeah.
in the fracas that they've created along the line of actual control, what has China got?
Oh, I don't think the Chinese have gotten very much geopolitically in the entire region. It's not just with India. But again, I think it's quite possible that there is an opening for Modi with the Chinese to stabilize relations more if he wants it. But
But he tried. They invited Xi to Delhi for the G20. Xi never came.
I know. Different environment. Again, the economics in China, this has all really started in the last few months. The United States was in a period of serious decline with China really until October, November, right? And that's when we started to see the turnaround. There weren't even military-to-military direct communications. You now have an entire constellation of essentially strategic and economic dialogue, but built from the ground up between the Chinese and the Americans. I've seen it with Australia, with the state visit that happened. I don't see any reason why that's not worth continuing to try.
No, but only if China pulls back some of the infrastructure and deployments on the line of actual control will it make sense for Prime Minister Modi to come on the table.
What I am saying to you is that when Biden reached out to the Chinese hadn't yet done anything. Right? This was after the balloon crisis, when the Americans and China were talking about, might we have military confrontation directly going forward? The U.S. ends up shooting it down. The U.S. calls the Chinese on the hotline. They don't even pick up the phone. That's a lot worse than not showing up in person at the G20. They didn't boycott the G20. They still showed up. I mean, come on, at the end of the day. So what I am saying is, you don't have to, in a challenging relationship, someone always has to make the first move. And if both partners are dug in and they refuse to make the first move, then you never fix the relationship. I do think that there was a little humility on the part of the Americans in reaching out to the Chinese that you wouldn't have expected necessarily them to have.